Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. God. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay. How loud is it? Okay, okay. Okay, okay. How do I sound? God. Okay, okay, okay,
Hello?
okay. Okay, okay. How
Hello.
loud is it? Okay, okay. Okay, okay. How do I sound? God. Okay. So it sounds kind of quiet. It sounds kind of quiet to me. It sounds kind of quiet. It sounds kind of quiet. Hey, that sounds kind of quiet. Hey, that sounds kind of quiet. What if I put that up to like about there, and then I put that up to like maybe like about there? How loud is this?
Where is it? In your wallet? Where's the firearm?
And keep in mind, even if he does have a
Where is it? In your wallet?
God, that's loud. Holy fuck, how loud is that?
and keep in mind, even if he does have a
Where is it? In your wallet?
God, that's loud. Holy fuck, how loud is that? Okay, but it's right in comparison to my voice. Okay, we'll call that a succession. We'll get that going. How do I?
concealed firearms permit, it's invalidated by the use of intoxicants, whether it be weed or alcohol.
The driver's side? Your side?
It's also invalidated by the presence of drugs, like marijuana or anything else.
Yeah, he says on the passenger. That's not your gun?
If I put that over here, can I put it on there? Nah, I'd rather just have it on the main screen, you know? I'd rather just have it on this view. Just like we're watching it, and then I just tap back in like this.
Can you put him in the back of your car? Okay. Wait, can you put him in the back of your car and search him? You ain't under arrest.
I love how calm this officer is. He's not yelling at anybody. He doesn't have his gun
I
drawn, even
really
though
don't
there's a
think this is
firearm
allowed on
in the
YouTube. I don't
vehicle.
know if this is
I
allowed.
mean, this is the way should handle themselves. Instead of being king shit, fuck you, get on the fucking ground, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's called, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, but it's refreshing to see somebody not going ape shit on somebody.
Now, I'm just going to talk to you, okay? Hey, it's going to be okay. Listen, you just detained, okay? Just put him back to your car.
Are we going to
When you see
Gottle?
somebody in
Yeah.
handcuffs like that, does it feel like you're under arrest? It probably does.
You're in handcuffs, okay? Then the lieutenant here will...
Yeah, you're in custody, so
Marijuana is really a cool
you
thing
gotta
that
read your
was
Miranda.
invented by the
answer any
Martians.
questions you may have, all
I'm
right?
really glad that they grew that and
You have
then
the right
sent
to
it
remain
here to
silent.
Earth 5 million years ago.
Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to have an attorney with you prior to, during, or after answering any questions.
You also have the right to reflect on how you are and how you just destroyed your future by making a really dumb decision tonight.
I'm normally a pretty decent judge of character. This isn't you, right? Yes, sir. Better than his boss.
And here's the thing. If that really isn't his weed and that really isn't his gun, that's fantastic. Then his prints aren't going to be on. But he's guilt by association. You know, you got to be careful of the people that you keep because you are the people that surround you,
Oh my god,
and
my
you can get painted with
eyes.
that brush.
Goddamn, bro, that brush is painting on my goddamn eyes balls.
I really can't even talk right now because, like, and you don't have to talk, man.
God, I love this cop. This cop is so cool, so
Cop, more like
cool, so calm,
chop.
super effective. I'm not saying like I love cops. I mean, I don't dislike cops, but I love the style of this cop because it's not confrontational. I mean, he sees this kid with a future that's really made a bad choice, being with the people that he was with.
That's odd. That's weird. Like, might be mad at you, but you can call him.
Do this, sir. Like, that is fun. I'm early freshman. I played football at Alabama, and like, I know, like,
Play football for the University of Alabama.
I need to be doing more things at one time. I need to be doing more things at one time.
The boys actually gonna step up and say what's his.
Full power!
Hopefully, the other guys take responsibility for the weed if it is theirs.
Full
One of the
power!
things that they'll do is they'll test the packaging for DNA and fingerprints.
Full power! Full power! Go now!
When you said gun, told me you didn't know there was a
Go now!
That's a good fact.
Ooh.
It's all right, man. All right, man. Listen.
So because he did that,
I mean, here's a young kid who's just got his prospects, you know.
the canard,
future.
get canarded.
And
You just
now
got
it's all,
canarded.
in his mind's eye, crashing to a halt.
We're gonna canard that,
I mean, imagine the dread that's going through his body right now.
and
At that moment. Not to mention
we'll
the
do a
fact that
little,
he's gotta tell his fucking dad. He knows that his dad is just gonna light him up like a
wait.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, because you probably don't pawn break into this. You could aim for this pawn though. But how do I? Yes! Blitz, 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 Why is it not joining?
We're gonna give dude a chance to step up and say that's his. Who do the pills belong to? The panic disorder pills? Are those yours or those his? They're not a controlled substance. I just need to know if those are actually yours or his.
Hey, I need this thing to stop trolling me right fucking now.
They're green pills, lime green colored pills. They're for anxiety here. It's for the
I ain't seen those.
Whose shoes are in the back of the car? The black shoes.
Those mine, and I
There we go. I thought that shit was trolling me, dude.
Jordans, the Nikes, and the black shoes.
Okay. Inside those shoes was a bag. You can go get them.
Mitchell later tells
What do I
officers
wanna
it
do?
was Lewis's idea to quote punch it and speed off
Isn't
from
that-
officers.
That would have been a good move last time. Fuck, I should have done the knight here last time. Oh, I couldn't. Okay.
Were y'all thinking about possibly running again on me? Whenever you turned down Indiana? Why did it take so long to pull over, man? Those yours or sir, like, hey, was he driving or was it you? I was driving. I wasn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, we probably need that.
So,
So he admits to fleeing from the police.
but like, what I was gonna say, like, hey, I've never been in this like situation before. He was just
Damn, bro. This is kind of a crazy variation I'm playing
One of the
against.
things that happens so often with young guys like this.
I might have to turn this into a hippo,
Especially if you're with
because he's really
people that you care
overextended.
about or that you look up to, or
But
you're
it's like
older or
perfect
whatever.
overextension,
You
because
get
I
into-
can't play
and
this
you're
move
not,
now.
You're not, like he says, he's never been in this kind of situation.
Well, if I can't play that move, then I just
The other
won't
guys,
play that
I don't know
move.
if they have a record or not. I'm guessing they might. And so punch it, you know. So you're gonna that split second decision to just take off does not help you, because let's say he has a defense
Yes, this
to the
is the
drugs
way.
and the gun. Say that's not my shit. That's his shit. I didn't even know it was there. Let's say you had that defense. You still got a felony fleeing that you do not have a defense to at this point. Because here's the thing. Even if the reason for the stop is illegal, it does not give you the legal right to take off and flee the officer.
You just panicked and punched it. Bro, it's all right. I'm not gonna charge you for it, okay? Because you're being honest with me. I will say you outran me, like pretty bad. That Hellcat. I ain't never drove that car. It's not a Hellcat, actually. It's not. It's a Scat. Oh, is it? Okay. I thought it. Cause man, I keep
Wait a minute. He moved the bishop away.
And here's the thing.
if I
The
can
officer may or
kick
may
that
not have any
queen.
sway over whether he gets charged with fleeing the police. You know, you could argue that I saw you back there. I wanted to get away from you. You weren't trying to stop me at that point, so I just took off.
Well, man, I ain't gonna charge you with fleeing the loot or anything like that, okay? I appreciate your heart. Yeah, I will have to. I might possibly
That's a
have to
pretty
take you
good
back
move,
to
I
the season,
think.
okay?
But also, this seems
God,
pretty
if this
nice.
cop is being truthful, he's giving this guy a real
Yeah,
break.
that's.
And let me tell you something about athletes. Athletes
I'm gonna
definitely
play
get a
that.
break sometimes, and maybe they should because they are doing something very pro-social, being in the football team, being in college.
Yeah, I can put it up here.
But they do get a break, and they get a
Boobity
break on
doobity.
campus a lot.
Nah.
But it may. Yeah, we don't know. It may. But regardless, you're still gonna be able to get it back. I'm not holding it. I'm keeping it from you.
As the discussion continues, Mitchell asks what will happen if his friend admits to everything.
I got a question. Yeah, man.
Say he did like own up to everything, like would I be
If he owns up to it, it's gonna be his decision. But if he owns up to it,
but like if say that was to happen, my car would still have to be towed.
Alright.
Well, listen, we'll go from there, but I can tell you already.
God damn, this is so much money in the 20 max.
But we will call your parents or we will call somebody to come get you in the vehicle. I know that sounds bad, but well,
And one of the things you probably sign when you are a prospect or recruit is a no use contract.
I'll be honest, man. Whenever I first looked at you, your eyes are red. Yeah.
see, how about that?
So, but
We'll check you out. Do me a favor,
let's
though.
figure it out.
I know you're having a hard time, and I understand where you're at.
But when officers speak to
Look
Lewis,
at
they
this.
hear a different story.
What about the marijuana that's in the vehicle?
That's
Is that
his.
yours or his?
I was just a passenger. I just got in the car with my.
I'm just a passenger. I don't know nothing about no marijuana.
So you don't know nothing about the marijuana? What about the firearm?
I don't know who got in.
So, when you're driving a vehicle, you are responsible for the contents of that vehicle, and it's sort of assumed that you know what's in the
Stop
vehicle.
preventing
There's
me,
two kinds of
bitch.
possession. There's constructive possession and actual possession. Actual possession would be where you have something on your person, like you have some drugs in your pocket. Constructive possession is where it's near you, within your dominion and control. That is what they call constructive possession. So even if you didn't know it was there, but it was within your reach and you had exclusive dominion and control over that area, you could be perceived to have constructive possession over that area. Now they're going to do DNA testing, or I would hope they would do DNA testing, certainly fingerprint testing, on the packaging and on the firearm, and we'll see whose DNA is on that.
Y'all know whose gun that is?
No, sir.
And you look at how Mitchell is just totally bawling his eyes out because he knows what he's about to lose, and this dude is a little more cold. I'm just calling it like I see it, but he seems like he's more full of shit.
Because he's saying it's not his.
It's not mine.
Okay, he's saying the marijuana's not his either.
It's not mine.
When officers report this information back to Mitchell, he breaks down once again.
Unfortunately, he's denying. I'm not charging anything with the gun. He's catching the gun charge, but he's denying the marijuana.
Oh, I need to do a Discord announcement.
I swear on life on everything.
There's nothing I can do on that, okay? Because it is a felony. I have no discretion over felonies. With the pills,
No, I want this off.
new drug, that's a misdemeanor.
How do I turn off soundboard on my fucking server?
But I cannot work with a felony.
Use soundboard. No one, bro. Okay, I'm turning it off. It's getting turned off. Soundboard.
In the state of Florida, okay?
No.
Marijuana with intent to distribute.
No. Yes, it's in rules. I need...
So he's not taking it. I tried talking to him, so is the lieutenant, okay?
the default role. Where's role management?
That's all I'm charging you.
No. Just
And
why is
honestly,
this
you know,
why is this a
it's
fucked
gonna
up?
change the situation, but it's
Why can't I
you know,
see the at everyone
it's
role?
sad
Where's
that
the
that's
at
what
everyone
it is,
role?
isn't it, guys? So as you're watching this,
Where's the everyone role?
think about decisions.
Where is the everyone
or tomorrow? Just
role?
Think about where you're gonna
Where
go,
is
what
it?
you're gonna do,
Why is it
what
up
your car's
here?
gonna smell like as
Put
you're
it
driving down the fucking
fucking
road.
back. Discord sucks so much dick, dude. Why the fuck do I have to go here to see this fucking screen? That's what this screen should be. This screen and this screen are the same screen, except this screen just has less shit on it. This has the same shit as this fucking screen. All they would have to do is take this member thing and put it right fucking here, dude. It pisses me off so much. Holy
What is
fuck.
the evidence of
Soundboard.
intent to sell or
Soundboard
intention to
off.
The intent is
Off.
that's
Holy
inferred by two
shit.
things.
Off.
One, the quantity, and then they also have a scale. Okay, you saw what happened on the side of the road. Now here's the logical consequence of what happened on the side of the road. This is Nick Saban.
Okay, finally, dude. Holy shit. Get that shit out of my server.
On all team activities.
Get
and
that
we
shit
have more
out.
Information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is, and you know, I mean, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around.
Let's open the root beer reader. Root beer reader is coming into the beer reader.
There is, you know, cause and effect when you make, you know, choices and decisions that put
Wait, I think you can say retard on YouTube. I
So
hope.
that's exactly right. There's cause and effect. You push here. This
Let's
comes
hit it.
out
Let's hit the
here.
coin flip.
You decide to
Bada bing.
fuck around. On the
Bada
street,
boom.
And then you find out, you know, from the coach. And I'm not.
Ooh,
not
first
taking
shot,
any
but it was
blame
low
in
damage.
pointing
We
this
lost.
out,
We
Joe.
still lost this.
You need to know that what you do
Oh,
affects you tomorrow.
right in the fucking
And
keister.
so I'm not
Yes,
you know what,
yes,
fuck it. I'm
yes.
preaching.
Give
I'm
me your
absolutely
money,
preaching because
Saul.
I don't
Give
wanna
me
see
your
people
money, Saul.
repeat these mistakes.
I'm gonna better
That's how I make a
call
living,
the
obviously.
fucking
But
ambulance.
guess what?
Cause I'm gonna fucking
Everything- this was
destroy
so
you.
preventable.
That didn't
It was
happen.
preventable because I don't know where this case is going to wind up with Mitchell.
I need
I don't
from
know if what he's
here
telling the cops is
missions.
true, and if the prints aren't.
I'm switching the stream category to just chatting
because
because this is not an Elite Dangerous stream.
DNA and prints are not on the scale, then he's got a shot. But something tells me it's going to be, because there's just no way that you're in a car with these guys and not know what they're doing. I mean,
We're gonna switch to the entertainment
just
category and
doesn't-
see what that
doesn't
does.
make logic. And when you have built a future NFL career, your top prospect, you gotta have more presence of mind to make better decisions. So this is our preaching moment here at CLR, Bruce Rivers. So just make sure that when you go out tonight, tomorrow night, the next night, whenever you go out, you do so with good decisions. But it's only because I give a shit about you guys. I want to see you in harm's way. So, with our content genius behind the camera, Michael Rivers, and this is Bruce Rivers.
Okay. I just need to make sure that my... Okay, so wait, but I'm really loud now.
Follow us on Instagram,
I'm
follow
really,
us on
really,
Twitter.
really loud.
Sign up
This
for
is
Patreon.
really,
We'll see you
really,
next
really
time here on
loud.
Criminal Lawyer.
He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case.
Okay.
He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching
I'm
gon'
gonna get you put away. My cat really thinks that I'm talking to him. Oh my goodness. I love you. I love you so
Hi, this
much.
is Bruce Rivers.
I
Welcome to
love
another
you
episode
so much,
of Criminal Lawyer
Noel.
Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal
You are
defense
so,
attorney. Today
so
and we are
sweet.
here with our content
So
genius,
little,
Michael Rivers,
too.
behind the camera as always.
Thank you for licking my
we are
bare
here today
feet.
talking about the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against the former President Donald Trump. This message is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business.
Okay.
Let's say you're
I think
Donald
I need
Trump
to
and
watch
you're in
my
a
stream
thing
again
in
for
New
one
Hampshire,
sec.
and
My fucking ping is too good. My ping is too good. Hang on, we gotta go back and watch
you need to
this.
sign a new
And
retainer
I'm
agreement
talking,
because you
and I'm
don't want to
talking
come to
over
Manhattan where
Bruce,
your
and we're
trials
clicking
being
around an
taken care of.
elite, and I'm
Takapinas
talking over
asks you for-
Bruce,
and
and I'm
Takapinas
talking over
asks you
Bruce,
for-
and I'm talking over Bruce, and I'm talking over Bruce. How loud is Bruce?
a ton more money, and you're having a rampage, and you're like, you're not having a rampage, and you're like, you're not
Yeah.
having a rampage, and you're like, you're not
Yeah. That seems about right.
going to pay him anything. But Tacopina sends you an e-sign document that you got to sign, otherwise he's going to throw in the towel. Well, what do? You just download the app. You get 3 free signatures a
I
month.
need that permit.
It's an effective way to remotely do business. I use it all the time for retainer agreements when somebody can't come to the office or they're out of town. And you can use it for any kind of agreement or power of attorney or any kind of thing where just getting the deal done quickly is much easier to do
Actually,
online. So
let's
eSign.com, a
flop
very
real quick
effective
and
way
check
to
for
remotely
donating
do
missions.
business. Now, in the E. Jean Carroll case, they selected a jury, and they've already started all the testimony. And she testified on direct, and basically she said that Trump had slammed her against the wall, yanked her tights down, and tried to rape her, and then she kneed him, and she fled. She never pursued criminal charges, and she said she would have kept the secret.
I need more weed to be in my
secret
weed.
forever, if not for the Me Too movement. And let me tell you something about the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement has
Tell us,
made
Bruce.
sexual assault cases much more difficult. It used to be that you attack, and I didn't say I don't necessarily ascribe to this theory, but you attack the background of the accuser. And, you know, she's had all these sexual partners, and that led to the Rape Shield Act. And the Rape Shield Act, it's a rule of evidence, Rule 412, and it's designed to prevent harassment or embarrassment or unnecessary bullying of somebody who is coming forward with sexual assault allegations. So she gets up and she tells her story. Now, she's 79 years old, so 3 years older than Trump. And this apparently happened in a dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman, which is a very high-end store in New York. In fact, Michael, I don't have him on. Michael just pointed to my cufflinks. He's the one that got me the pearl handle pistol cufflinks that are directly from that store. So let's talk about what's going on in this trial. So now she gets up and she tells her story, and she's 79 years old, but still, you know, extremely capable, extremely intelligent. And one might ask, you know, if this happened so many years ago, like 30 years ago or whenever it supposedly happened, hasn't the statute of limitations passed? And, well, there was a law passed in New York and in Minnesota and a lot of other jurisdictions that for one, and this came around as a result of the Me Too movement, that for 1 year you can bring a case. And so it allowed plaintiffs to bring, you know, an old allegation up if it hadn't been brought up before now. But you had a very short window to do that. That's why she's able to sue now. But she also is including a defamation claim in there. And the defamation claim is about things that Trump has said, you know, when he denied it and called her a liar and called her all kinds of names. Because that's what he does, right? Well, so let's talk about the cross-examination of a woman like this. You have to be really, really careful. And why do you have to be really careful? One, you've got an elderly woman. I mean, she's
Get this
79 years
fucking
old.
auto
So,
dock off of
any
me.
woman
Get it off of me.
who comes forward, or
Get
any
it off
victim
of me.
sexual
I
assault who
don't
comes
want it.
forward
Get it off
is
of
going to be
me.
seen as
Get it
sympathetic.
off of me.
And women can be hard on other women on a jury, for sure. It's really difficult.
I can handle
because
myself.
right away, you've got a client sitting in that chair.
I
and the
can
jury's
handle
automatically thinking,
myself.
He must have done something. These cases are not like a homicide, for example. Homicide is like a whodunit. I can't, you know, let's figure this out, you know. And I don't think there's that same taint that you get with a criminal sexual conduct
Entertain.
type of case, and that's what this is. So Joe Tacopina, when he is making his way
Fuck,
through
bro.
a
I need to get on this fucking
cross-examination,
star,
he has to
bro.
be really careful because you've got number one, you've got somebody who is
Go,
and then you also have somebody who's the victim of a sexual assault, or so she's claiming.
I'm thinking
Now
rookie
he's
8.
run into a pitfall that you really don't want.
I'm
to
thinking
run into
rookie 8.
because Judge Kaplan
Or
is the
also
judge in
moving the
this case,
bishop here attacks the
and
knife
Judge
pretty
Kaplan
good.
keeps interrupting
Because when I
and
fucking
keeps undermining.
thinking
So when the judge
rook?
interrupts somebody, it interferes
no,
with the
because
flow
that would rookie
of
8
your
would checkmate me.
cross-examination, and
I need the knight out.
it
right
sort
here.
of tells the jurors that you did something wrong.
If I kick it, it'll go.
mean, if you're being
to here.
argumentative, or if you're being
And
repetitive,
I don't want it to go to there.
whatever. And if the judge is in,
What if I
can
just
tell you, I can
did
count on
this
one hand how many
now?
times that's happened in 25 years with me. And you need to get a flow going. You need to get not combative, unless it's called for. And you've
could
got
do
a
this.
situation where
Where
you've
would
got
he go if I
a
did
kind of
that?
a tough guy
He could-
lawyer. You know, Joe
gets
Tacopina
him
is
out,
New
I
York
think.
as New York can get. And when you listen to him,
Okay, get out.
he's a brash New
Good.
York style lawyer. He's a bully, and when he sits there and he bullies her, you really run the risk, because he's got to destroy her credibility. But there's ways you can do it, and there's ways you shouldn't do it. And, I went to a seminar once, and this woman, she was 5 foot tall, public defender out of Chicago.
I can take
And
this
she was
now.
one of the presenters. And I'm like, what am I going to hear from her? I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because I was hearing the best speech I've ever heard about cross-examination. And she says, what's the
Are
one
you sure
thing
about that?
you got to worry about with an 8-year-old testifying?
Because I can just take that back, but I got some
And somebody
checks.
says, so they're going to cry? And she says, of course they're going to cry. You ask them their name, they're going to cry. Well, whether it's an 8-year-old or a 79-year-old, and her answer was, the one thing I worry about more than anything else, I'm not letting
Let's
that
just
person kick
try
my
it.
ass. So you could wind up letting the witness beat you because of your demeanor.
What?
One of the things about
You
trial
took
lawyers,
what?
We're
You
we're
fucking
students of theater, Colin,
what?
because it's performance art.
You did
you know?
what?
We're seeing 12 people,
It's
and in this case, I
even?
think it might be 6. I'm not sure how many jurors they have
You
in this
did
trial.
what?
But we have to look at people we've
Bro.
never communicated with before, and we have to
You
convey
took
a
my
message.
knight
And the message that
and my
Tacopina
rook
wants to convey is that you shouldn't believe her story.
and my
It's
bishop
lies.
for your
She's
queen.
making it up
But I
because
get
she wants the
this.
publicity. She wants this. She wants that. And so that's sort of the message that he's got
That's
to, because
insane.
there's only two versions that help the defense, right? One is it's a misinterpretation of touch, which we don't really have here, or two, it just simply didn't happen. And if it simply didn't happen, if that's your theory of the case, then you have to go after her credibility. And there's a couple of different ways you can go after her credibility. But one of the first
Oh,
things
it's
that
so
they
far.
talk about is that, well, you didn't report this to the police, right? And you didn't scream. He made a big issue out of screaming, and I don't think that this is,
Here, I can actually get us
Anybody
to
that's
go a
been
little
in
bit
that
faster
position,
if I don't use Super Cruise
you know,
Assist.
if he goes down the wrong path with this, women on the jury will be alienated. And you don't want to tell a
Actually,
woman
but
on
let's
the
use
jury
it
how they should have behaved,
Temporarily.
because that's a
get us lined
no-win
up.
position, right?
And then just increase the throttle.
I think it would have been far better to have a female lawyer cross-examine her. So just so we're clear, just so we're understanding your testimony, you did not go to the police, correct? And she'll say, yes, I did not
Only.
go to the police. You didn't call out for help. And you can do this in a way that she doesn't get to editorialize. She can on redirect, she'll editorialize, because then you say on cross-examination, you were asked, you didn't go to the police, right? Why didn't you go to the police? And then she can expand. On cross-examination, you were asked, you didn't scream, correct? Why didn't you scream? But on this cross, she
Yeah, that's not
absolutely
bad. It's not a bad move.
was able to really explain herself. And I don't think Joe Tacopina laid a finger on her. But let's get back to what the judge have been doing. So he periodically intervenes and saying things like, "We've been up and down that mountain. Move on." He said something like, "Typically, attentive jury seems to be losing steam." You know, you're totally getting undermined by the judge, and you really have to be careful not to go into that like that with the judge. But so Tacopina, when he's cross-examining,
I don't want that pawn. I can
he's
get it
using
later.
words like supposedly, like you were supposedly raped on this, and she says, not supposedly, I was raped. Well, that's your version, Miss Carroll, that you were raped. He says, those are the facts. She's getting her voice, and she sounds strong. So he says things like, for 2 decades, Miss Carroll, you never told the police, never revealed your story in your hundreds of columns. And she acknowledged that she didn't tell anybody. And you know what? It's really common. If you read the literature on sexual assault, it's the rarer case that they are reported. And let's look at the dynamics here. You've got Donald Trump, who's a widely known figure. And back when this happened, I mean, sure, it might have come out that he was a little bit of a philanderer, but they did not really come out that he would do anything like this. And so she indicated that she had fears of retaliation.
I forgot I had that pawn there, to be honest.
And fears of retaliation, fears of shame, fears of blaming yourself for what happened, and fear of somebody that's much more powerful, somebody that's has the wealth that Donald Trump says he has, and one of the things she says, one of my biggest fears has absolutely come true. He has 2 tables of lawyers here today. And who does she have? She just has her lawyer. And she said, I like attention, but I particularly don't like getting attention for suing Donald Trump. Getting the attention for being raped is hard. Oh my God, that is a tough statement. And what gives her some credibility is the fact that she can't pinpoint when this happened. She's got, kind of a timeline. It was in 94, 95, 96, somewhere in there. So it was a long time ago. I mean, it's almost 30 years ago. But she didn't say what the time was. And I would like to make something up for you, but I can't, because I don't know exactly when it was. And that's a good thing for her, because it shows a certain genuineness.
What if I kick?
And so I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, here's
I insist that you take this pawn.
Trump hasn't shown up for this trial, and I don't think he's going to. He doesn't have to. His deposition is there. They can use his deposition for
I got
just
2
about
pawns.
any purpose. And I don't think you'll see. And his reason for not going there was because he says that he didn't want to cause more problems with security and whatever. But the other thing is, the judge has admonished him a couple of times for statements that he's made, and intimated that he may have broken the law with regard to witness tampering by making some of the public comments that he was trying to influence or intimidate a witness, i.e., Ms. Carroll. We'll continue to watch this trial, and just to give you a couple other little tidbits, so Mike Pence testified before the grand jury this week. What does that tell you? That tells you Jack Smith
Damn, shoddy.
is winding down his grand jury. In fact, that's probably the last witness that they're going to have before the grand jury. I would expect within the next month or 2 to see something come out of that grand jury in terms of an indictment. And whether it's a RICO, whether it's insurrection conspiracy, or if it's interference with the election, obstruction, and then you got the documents. So there's just a host of things that he's looking at there. And then I think we heard from Ms. Fonnie Willis in Atlanta that she probably won't make a decision with the grand jury until August. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire. And then in October, we've got a trial for the Trump fraud.
Holy shit, that's funny.
Case. And what we've seen there
that's
is that
funny.
Ivanka
Look at
Trump
that.
has
Look at that.
she's not
queen.
part of that team.
Boom.
She's doing her own thing
Boom.
on that, which tells you that they're probably making
Boom.
some headway there
Boom.
too. So this is just our
Boom.
reaction to
Boom.
the week
Holy.
of the trial with
I'm trying to beat all
Donald
these
Trump
bots.
in the E. Jean Carroll case. And we'll have a verdict on that case probably next week. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board certified criminal defense lawyer with content genius
Well
Michael
played,
Rivers.
knight
Make sure you
E5.
subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Sign up for Patreon. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058.
I see this is his
That
plan,
self-snitching gon'
and then
get
I
you put
can't
away.
block. His plan is actually for me to play that move. Well, I'm not gonna play that move, silly. I might play this move. No, I think I play this move.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, board-certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and by the Minnesota State Bar Association as a criminal law and criminal trial specialist. Today we're reacting to Brian Walsh. But before we get to Brian Walsh, let's talk about who we're sponsored by. We're sponsored by Sign.com. Let's say you're at home and you can't leave because
The
you're
fuck
Brian
is that?
Walsh and you have a home monitoring device on you because you tried to sell some Andy Warhol paintings to somebody and you can't get out of the house. So the only way you can sign a contract, because you might have to post bail later, is by doing a document remotely. How can you sign that? Go to eSign.com. Download the app. You get 3 free signatures a month, and it is a great way to do business remotely. So,
Oh,
let's
there's
talk
ships in
about
front of me.
Brian Walsh. You know, I'm going to just tell every guy out there something you already know. There is no problem that you have with a woman that can be solved by violence. Never. It's not a good idea. Not to mention the fact that dismembering her is probably even a worse idea. This guy has got to be the dumbest fucking criminal I've ever seen in my life. Let's just talk
Is it a
little.
player?
We're gonna play his
No.
bond hearing, which is another thing. But now, in this day and age, guess what? Everywhere you go, everything you do leaves a digital footprint. Okay? You do a search on the internet. There's a permanent record of it. You take your phone someplace. There's a permanent record of where you go.
I don't remember
You
seeing
make a phone
Tactical
call.
Ted
There's a record
yesterday.
of that. You walk outside. You go to Walmart. Guess what? There's video of you everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, there's some type of digital footprint. So he's on his kids. You can't make this up. This is like a made-for-TV movie. These are Google searches he did on his child's iPad. How long before a body starts to smell? Okay. How to stop a body from decomposing? How to embalm a body?
Maurice.
And what's the best state to
Maurice.
divorce for men? Dismemberment. And what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Now, you really don't
Benoni.
have a great explanation for doing these searches. But there was more other
And
searches like
what if we gave the
hacksaw,
Benoni
a best tool to dismember.
a little
Are you
bit of
fucking kidding me?
pepperoni?
I mean, can you be charged with murder without a body? Now, in this case, they don't have a body. And that does make it a little more
Boom.
difficult. It makes the case more circumstantial. There's a difference between
Ugh.
direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. We've talked about that a little bit on this channel. But direct evidence is where somebody sees something happen. You know, you see the wagon wheel, go through the snow. Circumstantial evidence is you see the tracks where the wagon wheel was. So you can know somebody went through the snow. And in this
I'm doing
case,
this.
they don't have a body. They don't have an eyewitness. They don't have video of the killing. What do they have? They have a missing woman. They have... He bought cleaning supplies, about $450 worth. They got 10 trash bags containing blood-stained items, including a hacksaw, pond. And somehow that matches the the search. Towels, rags, cleaning agents, carpets. Her slippers were in there. Can you have a reasonable explanation about why you'd throw her slippers away? A Prada purse, her COVID-19 vaccine card. And investigators found DNA from Anna Walsh and Brian Walsh on the slippers, according to the prosecutor. Let's listen in on the bond hearing.
January 1st, defendant Googled using his son's iPad.
All right,
Some
let's
of the
slow down.
searches are as follows. Keep in mind that the defendant said he left at 6 a.m. At 4:50.
So now he gave a statement to the cops, right? And he tells the cops, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Now he was on a bracelet, and he was on a bracelet for an offense where he tried to sell some fake Warhols to somebody in California. And he got busted for that, so he was on home monitoring without GPS.
I don't want that,
On
thanks.
January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 4:58
Yeah, I just
a.m.,
doubled your ponds. How do you
cars
feel
found
about that,
the
buddy?
body from
You
decomposing.
shit on
At
ponds are
5:20
doubled.
a.m., he searched how
What are you
long
gonna do
found
about
the
that?
body.
Cry.
Not a particularly handsome fella, is he?
At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit?
10 ways to dispose of a body if you really need to. Well, you know what? It's kind of starting to smell, but I don't really need to right now. Unbelievable.
At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body.
So these are all searches that I guarantee you a child is not going to do. They're little kids that they left behind, and now they're parentless. But every single one of these builds on itself, right? So when we talk about circumstantial evidence, you take brick by brick by brick by brick. That's what the prosecutor will do. Now they don't have
Boom,
have him
check. You just
killing
blundered that
anybody.
check.
They don't
Boom.
have him admitting to doing.
I'm moving it back to the
So
Elite
they have to
Dangerous.
use all these inference. You draw an inference from the evidence. And if your Google search is best way to dispose of a body, one could think that you might have a body you might need disposing of.
At 11:44, how to clean blood from wooden floor. At 11:56 on the 1st, luminol to detect blood. At 1:08, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? At 1:21 p.m., is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Those were on the January 1st. There was also information gained from the defendant's phone, which showed on January 2nd he was at Home Goods in Norwell, where he purchased 3 rugs.
That's important because if you dispose of a rug because it has blood on it and you put a new rug down, if anything,
It's fucking crazy. I literally used to work at Home Goods and get those rugs down.
rug.
At 1:10 p.m., can you be charged with murder without a body? At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth?
So in this day and age, we have a lot of technology. You guys have all seen forensic files. You all have seen the NCIS. And some of that stuff is real.
Bro,
and in
got
a lot of
the
cases,
Cobra
they don't
Mark
have
IV,
DNA,
goddamn.
They don't have fingerprints. They don't have teeth. You can identify somebody by dental records because, if you look at my teeth, I was in an accident in 2003. My teeth are going to look way different than anybody else's, and no one will have the exact teeth that I have because of what happened to me. I was in a motorcycle accident and injured my teeth, and so my teeth have a very distinct pattern. Everybody's is the same way. Nobody has the same type of cavity, the exact same, and so the X-rays they can use. So can you identify a body by broken teeth?
On January 2nd, following those, the defendant was seen on surveillance at the Home Depot in Rockland. In checking the surveillance, the defendant is observed on a security camera pushing a cart. Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes, tape, top, a Tyvek suit with boot covers, buckets, goggles, baking soda, a hatchet.
Baking soda, hatchet, and a Tyvek suit. Was it just for like a little weekend party? I mean, there's no reasonable explanation, and you put all this together. You put it all together, and it is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This guy is the dumbest criminal on the planet because he's giving everybody a roadmap to what he's thinking and what he's doing.
Face mask and rubber gloves on at the time he was pushing the
I am
cart in Home
a fucking lizard.
Depot. At 5:32, he was seen at the Derby Street in Hingham, now removing the gloves and the mask. Data from his phone also tracked his whereabouts on January 3rd.
I should make a squadron.
Now, this is the prosecutor, by the way. What she's doing is she's reading the probable cause portion of the.
I forgot these
complaint
existed,
or of the
dude.
indictment or whatever. When they first started this
And
hearing,
I used to be like,
the
holy
defense
shit,
said,
it's
"We are not
10 million,
contesting
it's too
bail
much money, but I'm gonna make one. 10
Attention.
million's not that much.
and we're not contesting probable
Oh,
cause."
I'm gonna
And
make a
she didn't
fucking
want this in there.
squadron, holy shit.
And the judge says, "Well, I have to hear it because I have to be satisfied."
Locations were traveled at 4:27 on January 3rd to an apartment complex in Abington. Surveillance shows the defendant's Volvo, as well as a male fitting the defendant's appearance, exit a car near the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster carrying a
Fine,
garbage
I'll
bag.
let you dock
He's
me, I'll let you
leaning,
dock me, I'll let you
and
dock me.
It appears to be heavy as he has to heft it into the dumpster. He walks to the dumpster with the garbage bag and leaves it. On 4:48,
Oh
we get
yeah,
another
that's the
complex in
thing, is
Abington
I
at
didn't
5:10
want to
p.m.
pick a
Cell phone shows
power.
records at another apartment in Brockton.
He's going to various garbages, and he's dumping something, right? And I think the rumor, or not the rumor, but I think what the facts are that she eventually got incinerated.
Video shows a party consistent with his appearance and his Volvo. Again, he discarded items in the dumpster. On January 3rd, that same day, at 1:02 p.m., he did some more Google searches. What happens
Oh, you don't
to
need
hair
it
on a dead
initially.
body? At 1:13 p.m., what is the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag compared?
So what are searches? You know, what are Google searches? They are a window into the thinking of whoever is doing them, right? So if you see that, you know, on my site, I'm looking for a 1962 Lincoln Continental convertible, then you know I'm probably interested in one, which I am, by the way. But if I'm Googling how long does it take a body to decompose, what happens to hair when somebody dies, I mean, he's gone from, you know, the best way to kill somebody to what happens afterwards. You can just tell what he's thinking. And knowing what somebody's thinking, there's a Latin phrase called mens rea. It's your intent, your criminal intent. And when somebody has mens rea, that means the criminal intent to do the thing.
Let me look at the
This is going
squadrons.
to be used for. Absolutely.
On a surface
Everyone's
in the
just
woods.
got 2 or 3 because
At
it's just one
1:20
guy
p.m.,
and then his
can
friends.
baking soda, mask, or make a body smell good?
Does baking soda make a body smell good? You know, you hear about these cases, and how dumb can this guy be to think this would even work? I mean, there is no problem that you have with a woman that can be solved with violence. It is just sheer evil to take her out like that. They tracked her phone.
Sex
you
with
know,
Weed Squad.
He told her that she had a work emergency. She never showed up for it, and her work is what called it in. And they pinged her phone. Her phone never left the house. They found blood and a broken knife in the family's basement that had.
There's no way there's only
They have
12
surveillance
pages.
video of Brian Walsh wearing a medical mask and surgical gloves and purchasing $450 of cleaning supplies with cash at Home Depot near his house. He was wearing a monitoring bracelet. Now, this I
The
was telling you this
sexist Weed
before.
Squad is
He was wearing a
unavailable.
monitoring bracelet as he awaited sentencing for selling fake Andy Warhol paintings to some buyer in California.
We'll think
He
about
was
it.
under
We'll think
house
about
arrest,
it.
but he was allowed to leave the home for things like doctor's appointments. shopping for a murder kit, and the bracelet did not have GPS. Now, the court held him without bail. Defense didn't contest it because it was just he's going to be held without bail. Circumstantial cases.
Give me that reputation, baby.
You know, the law doesn't prefer direct or circumstantial evidence, right? A jury may want more direct evidence, but if they don't have it, they're going to have to put pieces of a puzzle together. And it'll be up to the defense. With these searches, how do you explain these searches? There's no good explanation for them, unless you're writing a novel. You know, unless you're writing a novel and you want to be accurate in a novel. This guy does not look like a novelist to me, at all. So we'll follow this case. It was just heavy in the news today, and I just thought it was just a good example of a real dumb criminal. So this is Bruce Rivers. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching.
8. Let's get a not Bruce Rivers. That is me.
It's a clearance sale on Clarence Thomas. According to a bombshell report from ProPublica, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has been secretly accepting gifts in the form of luxury vacation from billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow and failed to disclose them for over 20 years. And a second ProPublica report revealed that one of Crow's companies purchased 2 vacant lots and a house from Thomas and his relatives in 2014, which Thomas also failed to disclose. Also, the home just happens to house one Leona Williams, Clarence Thomas's mom, who the billionaire donor has allowed to live there rent-free. And now a Washington Post investigation discovered that Thomas has for decades claimed income from a real estate company that no longer exists. The optics alone here are terrible. These luxury trips and real estate sales are potentially worth millions of dollars in benefits flowing from a conservative billionaire megadonor toward one of the 9 votes that have basically unchecked power over the whole U.S. legal system. And Justice Thomas determined that he had no obligation to disclose any of this until he was caught. And frankly, upon examining the toothless ethics laws in place for our nation's top court and the apparent lack of political will to enforce the laws that we actually do have, Justice Thomas may be right. Now, before diving into the Clarence Thomas saga, let's talk about the key players here. First,
this doesn't sound good.
Of a Dallas real estate
this
fortune,
sounds quite bad.
Who is a longtime megadonor to Republican candidates, causes, and organizations. Now, a few years after Justice Thomas joined the Supreme Court in 1991, Crow met Clarence Thomas and his wife, Ginny. And in the years that followed, they claimed to have become close friends. Though importantly, in the years after, he became a Supreme Court justice. Now, Crow is also a major donor to the Federalist Society, a conservative legal organization. Crow has publicly given more than $10 million in political contributions, and probably more via undisclosed dark money donations. But when asked about his contributions, Crow once told the New York Times that he, quote, does not disclose what I'm not required to disclose. Now, on April 6, 2023, ProPublica revealed that Clarence Thomas has accepted luxury trips nearly every year from Crow without listing them on his federal disclosure forms. In June of 2019, Justice Thomas and his wife Ginny flew on Crow's Bombardier Global 5000 jet to Indonesia, then boarded Crow's 162-foot super yacht for 9 days of island hopping. The total cost of the trip would have exceeded $500,000 had the Thomases chartered the plane and the fully staffed yacht themselves. According to the report, Thomas went on at least 6 trips on Crow's private jet, including to Indonesia, upstate New York, and New Haven, Connecticut. Thomas also traveled with Crow to the Bohemian Grove, an exclusive California all-male retreat, and visited Crow's ranch in East Texas. And 1 week per year, Thomas would vacation at Crow's private resort in the Adirondacks. And this is certainly much different from the more humble and down-to-earth image that Justice Thomas has attempted to cultivate over the years.
You know, I don't have any problem with going to Europe, but I prefer the United States. And I prefer seeing the regular parts of the United States. I prefer going across the rural areas. I prefer the RV parks. I prefer the Walmart parking lots to the beaches and things like that.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's the case. And just a week after the initial report on April 13th, ProPublica published details of an October 2014 real estate transaction between Crow and the Thomas family. According to public documents, one of Crow's companies paid just over $133,000 for 2 vacant lots and a single-family home that were co-owned by Thomas, his mother, and the family of Thomas's late brother. The transaction, which had not previously been disclosed, was the first known instance of money flowing directly from the Republican megadonor to a Supreme Court justice. Now, under the terms of the sale, Crow allowed Justice Thomas's then 85-year-old mother, Leola Williams, to live in her home for the rest of her life. She lives there currently rent-free, but is responsible for property taxes and insurance. And after the sale was completed, contractors then undertook extensive renovations of the house. Then, on top of those transactions, according to an April 16th article by the Washington Post, Thomas has reported hundreds of thousands of dollars of income from a firm called Ginger Limited Partnership for 2 decades. The problem here is that the real estate firm, founded by his wife and relatives, has not existed since 2006. The company's assets were taken over by a similarly named Ginger Holdings LLC, but Thomas's disclosure forms make no mention of the newer firm. Now, given the similarity of the names, it's possible that the company was just listed in error, but it merits mention given Thomas's decades-long history of non-disclosure. In a statement provided to ProPublica, Crow describes the Thomases as, quote, very dear friends, and defended the trips as the kind of hospitality he extends to all
Fuck
their
it,
close
bro. Let's
friends.
start an
Quote, we have
actual
been most
game.
fortunate to have a great life of many friends and financial success, and we've always placed a priority on spending time with our family and friends. With respect to the property purchase, Crow said he purchased the home with a plan to turn it into a public museum honoring Clarence Thomas. While he claimed the transaction was at market rate, Crow purchased a vacant lot and a house on the same block for $40,000 the prior year. Crow did not explain why he bought the 2 vacant lots, but indicated that they had been sold. Crow also asserted that he has never attempted to influence Justice Thomas on any political issue, and claims he is unaware of any friends attempting to influence Thomas on the same. But at the same time, Crow serves on the board of multiple groups that have advocated at the Supreme Court through the filing of amicus
Yeah, bro, didn't expect me to play the fucking Polish. I know that shit.
Residential that was formed by Harlan Crow's father and partly owned by Harlan Crow was a defendant in a case before the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas did not recuse himself from that case. In response to ProPublica's reporting, Clarence Thomas defended the trips and pleaded ignorance that it was wrong, and in a rare statement stated, quote, Harlan and Kathy Crow are among our dearest friends, and we have been friends for over 25 years. As friends do, we've joined them on a number of family trips during the more than quarter century we have known them. Early in my tenure at the court, I sought guidance from my colleagues and others in the judiciary and was advised that this sort of personal hospitality from close personal friends who did not have business before the court was not reportable. I've endeavored to follow that counsel throughout my tenure and have always sought to comply with the disclosure guidelines. These guidelines are now being changed as the committee of the Judicial Conference responsible for financial disclosures for the entire federal judiciary just this past month announced new guidance, and it is, of course, my intent to follow this guidance in the future. Now, this statement raises far more questions than it answers. For example, while Thomas acknowledges being gifted family trips from Crow and perhaps others, he does not address the use of Crow's plane for other reasons, and as we'll talk about later, travel and the actual vacation itself are treated differently. For example, in 2016, Thomas used Crow's plane for a direct 3-hour trip to and from New Haven, Connecticut, which would have cost about $70,000, and it appears that Thomas might have been the only one on that plane. And obviously no one would ever vacation in New Haven, Connecticut, so the trip must have been for some other reason. Additionally, Thomas asserts that he sought guidance within the judiciary and was advised that his hospitality from close personal friends was not reportable, but Thomas doesn't specify who advised him, whether they had any expertise whatsoever, whether they were self-interested in that advice, whether this occurred before or after befriending Crow, or whether he followed up after this initial advice within the 30 years that this has been going on. And while Thomas claimed that he has always sought to comply with disclosure guidelines, the justice has a documented history of forgetting to disclose certain things. In 2011, Thomas amended prior forms to reflect income his wife earned between 1998 and 2003 from the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank, which Thomas claimed was inadvertently omitted. A 2004 LA Times report revealed that Thomas had accepted private plane trips and expensive gifts, including a Bible that was previously owned by Frederick Douglass, valued at $19,000, and a bust of Abraham Lincoln valued at $15,000. The article also noted that Crow had donated $175,000 for a new Clarence Thomas wing at the Justice's Childhood Library. Library in Georgia. And after the Times report, Thomas continued to take plane trips from Crow. He just stopped disclosing them. And ProPublica is not the first publication to raise questions about the
He's gonna
relationship
freak
between
out
Crow
about
and the
this.
Thomas family. In 2011, the New York Times detailed numerous favors that the Texas billionaire had done for the Thomases, including helping to finance a library dedicated to the justice in Savannah, Georgia, and providing $500,000 for Ginny Thomas to start a Tea Party conservative activism group, which came with a $120,000 a year salary for Ginny Thomas. And in a move that stirred controversy at the time, Crow financed a multi-million-dollar restoration of a cannery that included a museum about the culture and history of Pinpoint, Georgia, a pet project of the Associate Justice. Now, Crow says he hasn't tried to influence Thomas on any issue, and it's true that people who are ideologically aligned are probably more likely to become friends. But if a billionaire gave my partner $500,000 to start a political organization, flew us around the world on a private jet, bought property from me that would both house my mother for the rest of her life, and promised to have that house turned into a museum honoring me, well, you might question the independence of this channel. Now, Thomas's former law clerk, James Ho, who currently sits on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, defended his former boss by suggesting that the hypocritical double standards were at play, saying that, quote, there's a big difference between actual corruption and the appearance of corruption. But even if there isn't any quid pro quo between Crow and Thomas, the entire crux of judicial ethics is based on avoiding any appearance of impropriety. But under 28 U.S. Code Section 455, any federal judge, including these Supreme Court justices, are supposed to recuse themselves from any proceeding, quote, in which
I guess that just means I need to fuck them up.
Might reasonably be questioned. Unfortunately, there are neither official rules nor a legal mechanism to force the justices to recuse themselves, and Chief Justice Roberts has long resisted calls to impose a code of ethics on the Supreme Court. And not surprisingly, there is a wide-ranging debate on this topic. Multiple legal experts told ProPublica that these non-disclosures were not just unethical, but may have broken the law, specifically the Ethics in Government Act of 1978. And in a bit of cheekiness from Congress, the Congressional Research Service put out a helpful explainer of this law following, quote, a recent article detailing undisclosed trips by an associate justice. Whoever that could be. Of course, as you may know, finding a great lawyer can be hard. That is, until now. My firm, the Eagle Team, is now accepting new clients. If you've been injured in a car accident, medical malpractice, or just about anything, or you just need a lawyer, we can help represent you or find you the right attorney. Because you don't need a legal team, you need the Eagle Team. Just check out the link in the description. Now back to Clarence Thomas's shenanigans. Now, the Ethics in Government Act, or EIGA, was passed in the aftermath of Watergate, in part to, quote, preserve and promote the integrity of public officials and institutions. To achieve this goal, EIGA established financial reporting requirements for many high-level government officials and employees, including Supreme Court justices. The Judicial Conference of the United States, the principal policy-making body for the federal courts, has authority under the EIGA to administer the financial disclosure requirements for judicial officers and employees. And under EIGA, the Attorney General is authorized to bring enforcement actions against any individuals who violate the law's disclosure requirements. Those who knowingly and willfully fail to file or report any required information face fines of up to $71,000 per omission, adjusted for inflation. And in addition, those who knowingly and willfully falsify information can face fines and up to a year in prison. Now, some have argued that Thomas did knowingly and willfully violate these statutes. Under the pertinent rules, disclosures must include the, quote, identity of the source, a brief description, and the value of all gifts, while the Judicial Conference filing instructions say that all gifts over $415 must be disclosed. In addition, the failure to disclose the $133,000 sale of property from the Thomas family to Crow could also be a violation. Justices are required to report a brief description, the date and category of value of any purchase, sale, or exchange which exceeds $1,000 in real property. Now, there is a personal hospitality exemption to disclosure, which provides that any food, lodging, or entertainment received as personal hospitality of an individual need not be reported, but it's likely that parts of these trips might not fall under that exception. The Act defines personal hospitality as hospitality extended for a non-business purpose by an individual, not a corporation or organization, at the personal residence of that individual or the individual's family, or on property or facilities owned by that individual or the individual's family. Yacht and air travel are not food, lodging, or entertainment, and it seems that disclosure should have been required under the relevant acts. Though in March of 2023, the Judicial Conference clarified the contours of this exception, which the authors argue reinforce this reading. Quote, the personal hospitality gift reporting exemption applies only to food, lodging, or entertainment, and the reporting exemption does not include gifts other than food, lodging, or entertainment, such as transportation that substitutes for commercial transportation. Though a good lawyer would argue that if you have to clarify it, that's not the interpretation that existed before the clarification. And as luck would have it, we do have a fairly recent prosecution for failure to disclose under IGA. In March of 2022, a federal judge ordered ex-Apprentice star turned Trump aide Omarosa Manigault-Newman to pay $61,585 in civil penalties for knowingly and willfully violating IGA for her acrimonious firing in 2017. In his 15-page opinion, Judge Richard Leon of the D.C. District Court found that Omarosa had received countless reminders from administration attorneys of her legal obligation to file a termination report financial disclosure.
Where do you get
within
9
30
cents
days
from?
of being fired. And those arguing that
How's
Thomas
it possible
knowingly and
that I have
willfully
9 cents?
failed to disclose past gifts point to the fact that in
How did I get
1997
9
Thomas
cents?
disclosed that Crow flew him to the Bohemian Grove on a private
How did
plane.
I get
that
9
travel,
cents?
along with Crow's history of lavishing Thomas with gifts, was reported by the LA Times in 2004, which drew lots of criticism. But for the next 20 years, Thomas apparently decided to keep accepting flights from Crow, but just didn't report it anymore. So Thomas's statement that he received advice telling him that he didn't have to report plane and yacht trips doesn't really comport with the fact that he used to disclose this information, but then chose not to. Now, many observers have unfavorably compared Thomas's example to that of Justice Abe Fortas, who ended up resigning from the Supreme Court in 1969 after his own payment scandal. In 1968, LBJ nominated Justice Fortas to succeed Earl Warren as the Chief Justice. But an investigation revealed that Fortas had been paid $15,000 to be an adjunct professor at American University. But funding came from some of Fortas's old firm and clients, some of which came before the court. Fortas would later request to withdraw his nomination, but opted to stay on the court. But in 1969, it was revealed that Fortas took a $20,000 retainer from the family foundation of an indicted security swindler, Lewis Wolfson. President Nixon, hoping to fill a liberal Supreme Court seat with a conservative, began leaking information to the press to pressure Fortas to resign. Now, Fortas's conduct was not technically illegal at the time, but Chief Justice and Fortas's friend, Justice Hugo Black, urged Fortas to resign to protect the integrity of the court. Reluctantly, Fortas resigned, and Republican Nixon got his wish. But don't expect Clarence Thomas to resign anytime soon. But the question remains, who can launch an investigation into the Supreme Court? Well, by law, the DOJ may initiate an investigation on its own or at the request of the Judicial Conference. Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island and Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia have sent a letter requesting the Judicial Conference investigate, writing, quote, "There is at least reasonable cause to believe that Justice Thomas intentionally disregarded the disclosure requirement by not reporting the 2014 property sales to Crow." But there's not a lot of examples of the Judicial Conference making such referrals, nor the DOJ prosecuting them. In 2014, the Judicial Conference referred Judge Boyce Martin, a Carter appointee to the Sixth Circuit, to the DOJ's Public Integrity Unit to investigate allegations of improper travel reimbursements. But the department decided not to pursue charges after Judge Martin, who had retired in 2013, voluntarily repaid the $138,000 he had received as travel reimbursements during the contested 4-year period, even though he said only a fraction had been challenged. Okay, it's Devin from the future, and there's been a lot of new developments. So much so that I moved things around in my set, so it looks slightly different now. Now, Clarence Thomas has not denied any of the facts in the ProPublica article, and Thomas's defenders assert that the whole story is nothing more than a smear campaign by bitter Democrats. Though it should be noted that some of Thomas's public defenders have also accepted money and fancy trips from Harlan Crow. For example, over at the National Review, lawyer Mark Paoletta wrote a story with the following headline: "Justice Thomas acted properly and was not required to disclose his trips." Seems totally legit. Though I should warn you that the article includes a world-class disclaimer. Full disclosure, I worked on Justice Thomas's confirmation as a lawyer in the White House in 1991. I have co-edited a book on him titled Created Equal, Clarence Thomas in His Own Words, and remain close friends with him. I have also represented Ginny Thomas in the January 6th committee inquiry. Now, a disclaimer to the disclaimer, this doesn't even tell the full story of his relationship with Thomas and Crow. Paoletta worked on the confirmations
I just
of
want to
Justices
grab my
Thomas,
ship and
Gorsuch,
fucking.
Kavanaugh. And, he was also a guest with Harlan Crow on the very same trips as Thomas
I'll get
himself.
fucking lost
Here
in
he
the
is with
fucking
Justice Thomas
hyperspace.
at Camp Topridge in the painting commemorating one of those vacations. Truly a masterful
Holy
painting
shit, dude.
that really
My blood
captures the
pressure
essence of
just
the
went up
photograph, which was
so
also
much.
taken of the exact same spot. And it also captures the
gonna
delicate
die.
light reflecting off of Harlan Crow's calves. But Pauletta's argument is that Thomas
Holy
wasn't
shit.
required to disclose the vacations because the personal hospitality requirement is brand new. And in an equally baffling follow-up piece, Paoletta addresses the sale of the house
I need
that
to
Thomas's
take another
mother
route.
lived in. The crux of the argument is this,
I know
quote,
well.
"In the years preceding this transaction, Justice Thomas and his wife put significant sums of money into making improvements to his mother's house. Given these costs, their 1/3 share of its sale price amounted to a capital loss on the property. Because of that,
There we
Justice Thomas
go.
did not believe that the sale of his mother's home was a reportable transaction. This is, without exaggeration, insane. The relevant statute, as you've seen, requires disclosure of, quote, any sale which exceeds $1,000 in real property other than the property
I gotta
used
use the
solely
one
as a
wrapped
personal
in a
residence
Pop-Tart
of the
wrapper
reporting
because it's
individual
got
or the
sticky
individual's
on it.
spouse. It makes no
And
distinction between whether
I
the
don't
sale
want to
was
touch the
for a
sticky,
profit
but
or
I
loss.
also don't
It
want to
kind of
clean
makes
it
you
off.
question Thomas's
So
ability
we put
to
the Pop-Tart
understand,
wrapper on
you
it.
know, the law. Meanwhile, Justice John Roberts turned down a request to testify in front of the Senate about the unreported gifts, travel, and real estate transactions. Instead, he sent a letter stating that the justices are all ethical. All 9 justices signed a document attached to the letter entitled Statement of Ethics, Principles, and Practices. Roberts suggested that there was a separation of powers issue with asking the Chief Justice to appear before the Senate. He points out that only 2 justices and 3 presidents have ever done so. Though it does make one wonder what kind of checks and balances there are if the Supreme Court can't be forced to testify in the face of potentially huge corruption. And as the Chief Justice acknowledges, testimony of justices and presidents is rare, but not unheard of. The 2 justices who testified to Congress in the past were questioned about administrative matters. So the Chief Justice implies that it's
he couldn't
fine
keep
to
his
go to
phone
the Senate
open
to
long
talk about
enough.
minor issues, but it's somehow beyond the
You get
pale
your
for
queen
the Chief
forked?
Judge to address serious ethical
You get your
issues.
king and your
Now,
queen
obviously, the
forked?
justices fear additional embarrassing
You just close that
disclosures.
shit down.
For example, 9 days after his confirmation,
Bad
Justice
sport,
Neil
bro.
Gorsuch sold a property
block
that
that
had
guy.
languished on the market for 2 years. He disclosed the sale, but left the buyer section blank. The buyer turned out to be the leader
Let me go,
of a
Adam.
law firm with, surprise,
Let me
many
go, Adam.
cases in front of the Supreme
Oh,
Court.
let me go,
Now, these
Adam.
accusations have come out against Clarence Thomas, but they'd be astounding if any justice had committed them. And of course, these are only the facts that we know about. For all we know, Justice Sotomayor might be being flown around the world by Bill Gates, and Kagan is getting hundreds of thousands of dollars of vacations from Larry Ellison. And all of that would be super bad. But the lack of ethics or enforcement is a real problem with no easy solution. There are real separation of powers issues, and the Supreme Court interprets.
Look at that easy
law.
win,
And also,
dude.
Congress is pretty
Holy
much
shit,
deadlocked
what a
on everything,
win.
So it's not likely that any of this is likely to change anytime
Watch
soon.
the game
And
review.
Paoletta stepped up again to defend Thomas when reports came out that Crow paid for the private schooling of his grandnephew. Reports state that Thomas took on his
41
grandnephew, became his guardian, and
accuracy.
raised
Let's
him as
fucking
his son.
go.
All extremely laudable things. But he didn't disclose that Crow had paid over $150,000 for the boy's private school tuition. This time, though,
Yeah, when I
Paoletta
played
seems to have a better
D6, it
defense
was
for
really
Thomas.
bad.
Paoletta argues, and I think he's right this time, that the relevant statute requires disclosure of gifts for dependent children, but defines dependent children as a son, daughter, stepson, or stepdaughter,
Mate in one, and
who is
he
a dependent
didn't
defined
play.
by the IRS. No idea why the statute is written
There
that
was
way,
mate in one
but it
on the
seems true
board.
that Thomas's grandnephew is not a son, daughter, stepson, or stepdaughter, and thus this particular incident wouldn't need to be reported. There are reports that Justice Sonia Sotomayor was paid $3.6 million for various book deals, but declined to recuse herself
Holy
from multiple
shit,
copyright
that's
infringement
fucking
cases involving
beautiful.
book publishers or their parents or subsidiaries. Now, that's bad too, but at least she disclosed those issues where Thomas seems to have hidden his incidents completely. Of course, the justices really enjoy their privacy. So if you'd like to be as private as a Supreme Court justice, you can get your online personal data taken down with today's sponsor, Incogni. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen a huge uptick in the amount of spam that I'm getting. And it's no surprise. Every year, the number and scope of data breaches worldwide is rising. And you might not know it, but there are hundreds of data brokers that possess and sell your personal data, probably right now, and their numbers are growing every year. These data brokers could have your name, your address, phone number, shopping habits, possibly even your social security number, all up for the highest bidder. I know when I checked, there were literally hundreds of different companies that had this information. At best, this leads to scam calls, and at the worst, identity theft and doxing. But here's where Incogni comes in. Incogni fights on your behalf to remove your personal data from data brokers and deals with any objections from their side. All you have to do is create an account and give them your approval to work on your behalf. Incogni conducts repeated, ongoing removals because even if the broker removes your data once, they could collect it again. Incogni makes sure that your personal information stays off the market for good. When I signed up, I saw a huge decrease in the number of spam emails and calls that I was getting. And it was terrifying to see exactly how many brokers have our data, and it's really fun to watch Incogni get them to delete that info one by one. If they fight, Incogni will actually fight back and send repeated letters on your behalf until that information is gone. So if you'd like...
Is it free? Is it free? No. How much is it? No. No thanks. No thank you. Hmm. This is such a fucking retarded video. Get it off of my screen. I already told it to go away once. YouTube sucks balls, dude. Shout out to YouTube. Holy crap. Dude, I should start playing some CS:GO again. I haven't played CS:GO in months. Like actual months. Should I play CS? I think that just whenever I'm on my computer, I can just get used to having the stream on like it's normal. And then if it's normal, I'll just be doing my normal shit. But I don't think there's a reason for me to not wake up, and if I'm gonna get on my computer, I need to be streaming. Oh, I want to stream all the shit that I do electronically. But the shit that I do fucking outside of it is like my own thing. But I feel like it's a really big waste of my time to not be live. Like I was thinking about like, oh, I could turn off the stream and then I'd be like a little bit more comfortable, right? But what's the point? This could lead to a lot of things. And I'm having a lot of fun right now. It's just a different environment and I'm just not completely comfortable. But I can just get comfortable and it will be so much more worth it. And I'm just gonna smoke more weed and it won't be hard. And the other thing is I really gotta actually edit highlights. But I think my problem is that every time I end my stream and I look at what I streamed, I didn't like it. And I don't want to cut up any of it because there's no funny parts to use as highlights. Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go stream to make highlights. And then I go and I stream and I just don't think any of it's funny. And I think maybe we got like maybe 2 minutes off of this stream, which is a pretty good scrape, honestly. I could play the social media game and do YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Is it too meta? Nah, I shouldn't watch a streamer react to something. Because I'm like, I'd be the replacement of that streamer, basically. We'll go to the station first. I don't want to see this. And of course he's filming it. Of course he'd be filming it. Never seen him fucking IRL stream once in my fucking life. Of course Hassan is fucking recording himself give pizza to the fucking protesters because he's losing his fucking clout, dude. Holy shit. No, I don't want to hear someone's voice.
Hi, welcome. Today we talk about something different. Star Citizen. If you play video games, you may have heard of this game, either in a bad or a good way, as this title seems to have
That's crazy that it used to look like that.
If you have not heard about it, long story short, Cloud Imperial Games and its legendary founder, Chris Roberts, have been working on developing this game for more than 10 years, with more than $500 million donated by players. This is, of course, unprecedented. First things first, what is running in the background is a series of sessions of Star Citizen are recorded in the last 10 years. Yes, in some cases, it may not even
That's
look
good
like
for
the Star Citizen
2013.
you may be familiar with, but that's how it started. I've personally streamed or recorded this footage,
It's a little
and I've
fast.
added a date to mark the development phase. So if you're not new to this channel, you know our work. Facts, numbers, maths are what I use to back my thoughts and conclusions, rather than trying to clickbait and do cheap triggering content. This reminds me that I really need to make a video about splitting Turtles F-14s shooting down balloons whilst inverted. That would surely pass the 1,000 views mark. Anyway, in case of Star Citizen, the approach is different. There are no mathematical models or tests to do, so all I can offer is my expertise. I've been coding since I was like 12, and later worked and still working in IT for almost 20 years. I've been part of teams and companies of all sizes. I have teams created around me, and I've seen projects launched, took tons of effort for several months, just to then fail, whilst others flourished. The point of what I'm saying is that I have good exposure to technology and project management. I think at least a bit of background in such topics makes the process of understanding why Star Citizen is both so unique.
Oh, I thought this was like a 5-minute video. I thought this was like the intro and he was gonna stop talking. I didn't realize I was watching him talk for 20 minutes. Sure, we'll play this. I
On March 21,
still can't believe we
2023,
won that chess
a
game.
deputy observed a
That means
vehicle
we
with
should play another
expired
one.
plates in Fond du Lac County, Wisconsin. The deputy attempted to conduct a traffic stop on the
Ugh.
vehicle, but the vehicle
Ugh.
continued for a short distance before pulling over.
26 in Cattaraugus, 117 Robert Frank Tom, 117 RFT, 26 in Cattaraugus.
Let's just play a nice little scotch.
60, I'll take another my way. It's gonna be
We're not playing the
plates of
scotch.
Vehicle associated, it's on a black SUV.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-mm-mm.
60, speeds are 55, continuing north on 26. Again, 117 Robert Frank Tom. It's on a black.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this game, but
Make, possibly a Cadillac or
I don't know.
60, they're pulling over 26 just south of Neatman.
Sheriff 60.
The passenger door opened and a male exited the vehicle with his hands up. As the deputy began giving commands to the driver, the vehicle took off at a high rate of speed.
Copy 583.
Driver! Hey, show me your hands! Put your hands up! Driver, turn off the car! Put the keys out the window! .60 vehicles taking off, passengers out of the car. He's compliant, staying on the side of the road. Male white, black sweatshirt, black jeans. He's gonna be 26 just north of Neatman. Vehicles taking off northbound.
Look at this fucking rim knight supporting the fucking pond.
Pepper Sheriff 60 725 sending up in Forest.
725, get south. 60, almost 1050 here. He's going in now. Alright, we're back on the right lane of traffic now. Maybe 60 miles an hour.
The vehicle crossed into oncoming traffic several times and reached speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour.
26, we're County Lawman.
154 send them boys the passenger. 60 to Omaha, should be just south of Neatman on 26 staying in the ditch. 60, we're 26 north, speeds 100, no traffic right now, just passing TC.
60.
154, 60, if 725 cannot get south of Forest, we're going to terminate before it gets
Dude, you can't interdict me this close to a fucking planet. What the hell are you doing? Bro. Dude, what the hell? Game broken. Fuck.
60.
60, I believe he's losing his tire. So 26 North Covington Forest, 725 to 220.
Just north of Forest.
Alright, it's going to be in the northbound lane here, only car right in front of me.
A Rosendale officer successfully deployed spike strips which deflated the suspect's tires.
60, good spike on possibly all four, 26 North.
This is really his move? I see. But it's actually great because then if he takes the bishop, I get the rook. And if he steps here, I can check him with the rook to get him to step over here, and I can get him with the queen over here. Wait, can I check him here? Well, no, because he can block with the queen. I'm cold as fuck. I'm so cold. Holy shit, I'm cold. And I'm hungry, dude. I might stop smoking for a sec, because I think I want to go get pizza. Today's Saturday. Close. He moves the rook out of the way. I see. And if I check him there, then the queen will come into block. And then do I have anything after that? Well, I could sack this knight, but I also just could bring my queen in here and defend the knight. Actually, I don't even know if I can do that. But I could drop the queen back here. God damn. Now we do this and we hit the swag. We're about to hit the swag. That's not the swag. Why did you do that? So we'll swag there. And he'll block with the queen. Or not. They close at 10 p.m.? Can I even get there by then? No, I can't. Fuck, I'm gonna have to get different pizza. Is this really happening? What is bro doing? What are we cooking in here? I see. Well, that's okay. I know he can block it. I just didn't think he would keep moving it. But I can also come up here. Dude, this guy let me draw him. Holy shit. That was fucked up by him. No. Let's see. No, I don't want to trade the queen there. Why couldn't he have blocked this way? Why didn't he play this? Wait, was he cheating? He was always, look, my move, his move. My move, his move. My move, his move. My move, his move is best. My move, his move is best. My move, excellent. Excellent. Best. Good. Good. I feel like he's deadass cheating, bro. Best. Dude, imagine if he didn't block with the knight there. Holy shit. Imagine he goes there and I just go. Boom. Nice little check. You gotta end it because I'm gonna get pizza. So I'll see ya. I'll see you for pizza.